Right guys, we are anchored up here at a little island I'm not sure the name of, but it's pretty beautiful, as you can see, in about 15 meters of water, and it is lovely here. But the main reason we've come here is because we are just 3 miles around the corner from Lemba, which is the main harbour for the whole of Lombok. Here you can see on the map. The reason we're here is because I need to fix these trampolines. Two sides of the trampolines are lashed on with Dyneema lashings. Same on this side, and then the front and the inside one here, they come through a bolt rope like a sail. And then this bolt rope, you see these welds have broken off. This one's broken here, this one's cracked, that one's completely broken, the front, and the front one's not. They are welded on the bottom side as well, which hasn't broken, so I can still stand here, but you can see when I stand here it flexes and it's pulling out of the bolt rope. So obviously that's unsafe. So that brings us back to why we're here. Well, just up the river in the harbour is an Australian guy called Steve, who I've never met, but I have spoken to. He has a boatyard and he can haul out yachts, but he also makes aluminium pontoons and dinghies and things like that. So obviously he can weld aluminium. So I rang him up and said, can you do this job for me? And he said, yeah, no problem, bring it by. So the plan is today to get this one off, which means undoing all these lashings. You can see I've started here a little bit, so I've got to undo all these lashings and then slide it out of that one hopefully, and then slide this whole net forwards out of this one. And then the plan is to also take this side one off and then unbolt this whole catwalk here, which is just 4 bolts, and take this fiberglass cap off it, and it's just a trapeze underneath basically. And then just put that in the dinghy and drive up the river a couple of miles to Steve's place of work, and then just get him to weld it, and then come back and put it all together. Sounds easy, but I don't think it will be. I think getting these nets off will be difficult. I put the cover on, give a little bit of shade here and also inside the boat. The plan is hopefully to get this off today, be able to call up Steve and arrange that I can go up there tomorrow. And that's the only big sort of job we have to do on Trade Runner before setting off from Lombok. So let's get started. So all these lashings around the trampoline is 3 or 4 mil Dyneema cord. Obviously been in the sun for a couple of years in the salt water and done up tight to begin with, so they were pretty solid. But with a pair of needle nose pliers and a tiny little screwdriver, I sort of just managed to pick them apart. And it wasn't, actually once I got the technique, it wasn't that big a job. It did take a couple of hours to get them off, but I was sort of thinking I would have to cut them all and then, you know, re-tire with new Dyneema, but I managed to save them all. So that was a bit of a win to begin with. Right, well that's all the lashings off. That was probably the easy part actually. This would be easy with 2 people, but Marie's looking after Eli right now. I can hear them playing in the bed. He's not at a stage where you can leave him alone very long, so this is a single-handed job by the look of it. Anyway, I'll go over to the other side and try and figure out how I can slide it out. I'm thinking I might have to lube the bolt ropes up. I can't imagine that it's going to slide out super easy like that. But yeah, give it a try. Alright, I've made some headway, a little bit of headway. Got all of the lashings off and sort of prized the bolt rope out of here. You see where it's so broken now. But yeah, I think one thing getting it out. Getting it back in is going to be another thing, but we'll jump that rope when we get to it. I've got 2 little bits here left to get out. I think I'm going to be able to get that out, and then hopefully I can sort of tie it all up somehow and slide this one out. It seems to move, doesn't seem too bad, so we'll see. But I can hear crying going on in here. I'll go and check out what's going on down in here. What's going on down here, hey?
Petit grand chat.
What's going on down here, hey? There's some smiles, but I hear some cries. Hey, are you bored?
A bit grumpy.
I think he'd probably want to come and help Daddy do the work, right? You're like, I don't want to sit inside, it's boring.
You want to help Daddy?
You want to come and help Daddy do the work, don't you?
You don't have the big muscles?
No, you need to grow a bit more. But you're well on the way, because you're a bit of a big beast for 3 months. Yep. Yep. But you keep playing with those toys and get stronger, and soon you can help Daddy.
Yeah.
Yeah? Alright, back to work. Back to work. Alright, that's a bit of success. I got half of it off. Now to get this last bit out. Guess probably easier with two people. Oh, there we go. Wow, that's better than I expected. Alright, as you can see, I got the fiberglass deck that was screwed on there. That's over there on the rail now. I've got that off. So this whole part I want to put in the dinghy and take up the river. Probably the easiest way, but the longest would be to do the same on this side. Undo all these lashings, take that trampoline off, then unbolt this contraption, take it up the river. But I'm going to try and shortcut that, because getting all these lashings right afterwards is a big job. You've got to get them all the right size, the right distance, otherwise there's more pressure on one than the next and they'll break while the netting will rip. So what I'm going to try and do is leave all that in place, undo these 4 bolts on this aluminium thing, flip it up and hopefully slide it out the front on this bolt rope so I can leave all the rest in place. Sounds easy, but I think it will probably turn out to be impossible, just because these bolt ropes don't slide very good, and if there was 2 or 3 of us it would potentially work, but by myself I can't really see it. I'm going to give it a crack. I think if I undo them and then tie it up so it's up on a couple of ropes here, and then just sort of try and slide it out, and maybe put a rope on the front and pull it there, I don't know, I'll figure it out. Okay, we got the bloody thing off. It's so hot. Oh, it is scorching here. So I haven't got all that stuff off. I pulled up the anchor and mowed it around to Lemba. It was very, very calm, so I even just left the cover on and just mowed it around 4 miles. Came around the corner, never been in here before, and found a very busy harbour actually. Very nice and protected, well marked channel, and I was super surprised to see a huge cruise ship pulled up there with thousands of people on board. I guess they go out and look at different attractions around the island of Lombok. A lot of inter-island ferries here going over to Bali and Surabaya and Java and all over the place. And yet we just sort of rolled through the harbour without saying anything, and then the harbour master actually came up to us in his little boat.
Make sure your radio.
Yeah.
Your radio is on.
Yeah, radio.
16.
16.
Okay. We're just going to go a bit more and anchor. Right, we've anchored up here in 2 meters of water in the middle of this harbour, and I've got the gantry on the front here, and I'm about to head up the river and see if I can find this place. Marie and baby are staying on board. Alright, tied the boat up here and got my bits and pieces, and this is Steve's place. I'll go and see if anybody's home. So I found the shed, rocked up, and they just got straight to work. Just looked at it and were like, alright, let's do this. First they got the paddle wheel on the grinder, cleaned all the aluminium up, all the old worlds. Then they got a thin piece of aluminium that was the same size as the bolt rope groove, and straightened the whole track, just tapping along until it was straight, and then started welding. Now, I don't know if it was their welding machines or it's just old crappy aluminium that's there, but they burned a few holes in it. It was too hot for sure. But anyway, they did their best, and then as they were welding, the other guy was with the paddle wheel again, cleaning all the welds up, and yeah, it was an hour later we were done. Right, it's lunchtime now, so the guys all buggered off home for some food. It's fair enough. I'm a bit skeptical. I sort of welded it. It's not really these guys' fault. It's pretty shit material. Like, it was pretty crappily built, this whole thing, to be honest. It's got really light, weak aluminium, and I'm not sure if it's their welding machines or whatever, but they blew a lot of holes in it now. You know, it's too hot, they're welding, and yeah, so I'm not really sure whether it's improved it much at all. Now, there was no way in hell I was getting this back together by myself, and the only way Marie could help me was if we did it at dark after Eli had gone to bed for the night. So about 8 o'clock we put him to bed, and Marie came out and helped me, and crazily enough, after about an hour we got it pretty much all back together. It blew me away how sort of well it went. I guess it just comes down to planning and our amazing teamwork. Alright, well, back to work on the trampolines here. I've got the middle gantry back on, as you can see. Still got to put the through bolts through the aluminium top here, but I can't do that until Marie helps me. And the next thing is to do these lashings back up. Alright, well, I've done up all the lashings. Still got to do the last locking knot on them, but I guess now is the moment of truth. Step on. I'm not going to bounce around too much. I don't really trust them, but they're looking okay. But I'm not going to hold any dance parties on the trampolines, that's for sure. And it probably would help if I lost the 10 kilos, which I planned to do anyway, so. Yep. I guess that's mission accomplished. Yep. Getting a bit of breeze up here on the deck. How's it going there, baby? Hey?
I'm busy.
He's busy?
Yeah.
He's busy blowing bubbles?
Yeah.
Okay, how are you doing today?
That's alright. Just a bit hot. And I don't know, it's a bit weird to not being with you all the time.
Oh.
Like the last...
Ooh.
That's a big leap. Yeah, the last years I was always doing everything with you, and now you're doing the things by yourself, and I am not alone, but it's a bit different. Anyway, we're having to do a bit of teamwork, obviously, yeah. So she's more useful to look after the baby right now, because although I've got a couple of tits, they don't produce any milk. Hers do, and that's what he wants, isn't it? Always. He's a hungry boy always. Yeah, so we're in Lembar Harbour still. So a lot of ships coming and going. That was the horn you saw before. It's actually quite pleasant in here. It's quite nice, and there's been zero plastic floating around, less than out in the other anchorages out in the ocean. Yeah, but the water's not crazy. Well, it's not clear. It's probably just because it's a muddy bottom. The water seems clean enough, but it's not that inviting to jump in. And the thing is, here it's so bloody hot that you sort of need to jump in 4 or 5 times a day just to cool off. And here it's not that inviting. I mean, we're not putting Eli in the water here. We normally put him in the water 2 or 3 times a day. Anyway, it's too windy to bloody talk now, probably, on this GoPro. More later. Alright, we're just about to finish this off. We're being quiet because the baby's sleeping. But this is the last job, screwing this fiberglass top on the gantry here. And I couldn't do it myself because I need to hold the bottom and Marie needs to hold the top. I'll screw this on quickly and then we'll finish up this video. Oh, that isn't one there. Yeah, okay, so that one there you need to put on a much bigger angle when you push it down, not straight down. You can see the hole here, right? Look on a bigger angle. Look towards. Alright, that's the end of this video, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Bit of a dry one, but if any of you are fixing trampolines, well, I don't know, you might get something out of this. Personally, I don't really like the design of these trampolines.
me personally, I would just do lashings on 4 sides. It's just way simpler and way safer. You can see when the lashings are starting to wear out. This bolt rope system is just, in my opinion, overcomplicated and
not really safe in
not
time.
really safe, and it's very hard to put it all together and take it apart. It's really, when you build it, it looks great, but then if you ever have to fix it, it's rubbish, and it just doesn't last long. I would never do this again, and probably this isn't going to last that long, so we'll have to make a contingency plan, which will probably end up just lashing these ones on anyway. So
A big thank you, as usual, to all of our patrons. We are so glad to have you behind us all the time, and I know it's a bit repetitive, but yeah, we really need you, and that's awesome to have all of you. And thanks also for all the watchers and the ones who are commenting, putting input and putting likes for this video. It's really important for us.
yeah, and we will see you again next week, and we look forward to showing you more of our adventures with our little family here on Trade Runner in Indonesia. Bye bye.
Coucou. Coucou, petit bébé.